ADA compliant. Well, it never was
Hey,
supposed to.
Brian, can you do a sound
Hey,
check?
question for you. 2 years.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Was there ever any action taken
You say that's good, Deb?
created
No.
in 2000?
Yes, sir, that's good.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So frankly, we don't need.
Deb,
Do
we
you
ready?
recognize it?
Just tell me when. Want to welcome everybody to the special meeting for the North Tupsail Beach Board of Aldermen, which is today, Monday, June 28th. We have just one topic on our agenda today, which would be the second vote for the municipal service district. So the first thing I'm going to do is just ask for approval of the agenda. Motion.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then, so we're going to, what I'd like to do is request a motion and a second for the municipal service district. And then if there is any discussion or questions for our town attorney, he's on as well. So can I have a motion
So moved.
to approve?
Yes, to approve the motion to set up the municipal service districts as was presented at the last.
Okay,
meeting.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion from the board?
I just want to make a couple of points here. First, the motion had wording in it specific to storm damage mitigation project report that's on file in the office of the town clerk. And I have a little bit of a concern with those words because those words reference are very close to the words that are traditionally used to describe the federal project. Spoke with the town attorney this morning and he's on with Zoom. And the wording there is substantially different than the wording that's in the actual ordinance, which relative to the reason here is that the town has hereby established 2 beach erosion and flood and hurricane works municipal service districts entitled Phase 5 Oceanside and Phase 5 Soundside as depicted on the map attached here to and incorporated herein by reference for the provision of erosion control and flood and hurricane works services. And I bring this up specifically so that our citizens understand, as I had trouble with it this morning, that we are not voting on the federal project here and whether or not we are going to, or the Army Corps project. We're voting on whether to establish municipal service districts that are going to be required in the event that we need financing through a special obligation bond in order to secure a bridge loan if necessary to do the FEMA restoration project this fall. That's my concern.
And I thought that that was clear in the statement that I had read as well at the last meeting, and that we do have that statement posted as well on the North Topsail Beach pages. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Okay, and just, sorry, you go ahead, Brian.
Well, I just want to clarify one, to Alderman Leonard's point, this vote and this motion has nothing to do with the federal project per se. The vote to go forward with the federal project or not go forward is not on today's agenda. And that would be a different vote on a different document, which is the Project Partnership Agreement, acronym of PPA, which is not before you today.
Right.
I'd like to reiterate that you can only this in a municipal service district at the beginning of the fiscal year. This board has not done that. So there will be no new taxes or additional taxes in these service districts. And thirdly, the report referenced in the motion is the report that is required by the North Carolina General Statutes. There is a enumerated list of services that allow us to create municipal service district. Erosion control and flood works is one of those services. So the reference back to the report was simply to identify the geographical service districts that can be found in the report and in the proposed exhibit or map to the ordinance in front of you. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Oh, one last thing. I believe we already have service districts in place, although the existing districts do not bifurcate what we call phase 5. It's just all of phase 5. So to the extent we find out down the road that we may not need one or the other of these districts, we can simply abolish them by a motion and vote.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just to follow up on what Tom and Brian said, that the board, at least from my perspective, is we wanted to make sure that an MSD was in effect that would allow us to finance the FEMA project this fall, right? There's no new taxes that are coming out. There's no bifurcation of taxes within those areas. And as Brian just pointed out, if there are MSDs in place that would allow us to do that, that's fine. But because of a concern that if there was any kind of gap in that, we would not be able to do the FEMA reimbursement project. And remember, that's 637,000 cubic yards that's going down into phase 5. All right. And it's going to start this fall. And it involves $15 million in financing. It's critical that we have these in place. But do not confuse it, as Tom had mentioned, with the Army Corps of Engineers project. Yes, it's a federal project, but this is FEMA, and it's not the Army Corps of Engineers.
It's really, quite frankly, just planning. It's fiscal planning that we're
Yes.
doing and making sure we have a mechanism in place should we need lending for any project in that project area to get sand on the beach.
Well, and if I may, Mayor and board, as I indicated earlier, I believe we set up municipal service, and it was a while ago, almost 10 years ago.
2013.
Okay. For the entire island or portion of our town. And
It's
I
okay.
don't recall us ever assessing taxes in any of those districts. They were set up as financial vehicles.
Nope, did not.
Right.
No.
So,
Yes,
so to the extent people may be concerned about new taxes, I will tell you that since like apparently 2013, we've had similar districts in place and have never used them as a vehicle up to this point to assess additional taxes. Since that's not on the table today, they cannot be done this. I mean, it has to happen at the end of this fiscal year for the next fiscal year. So for the next fiscal year, July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, there will not be any taxes nor lawful authority to add taxes in the municipal service districts unless you set them today or before the end of business on the 30th.
Thank you, sir.
Mike, you comment?
Yes, Mayor. President.
So, just, I think we're trying to clarify for our citizens and property owners, there's two different wheels that have been turning quite quickly in the last 2 weeks. What Alderman Leonard has said is these two wheels are independent of each other. And we are now focused on Hurricane Florence recovery through FEMA and the requirement to have a municipal service district to qualify for a bridge loan so that we can do the FEMA project. That's what we're considering now.
Yes.
Nothing to do with what we've been calling the federal project. So Alderman Leonard, I appreciate you clarifying that for everyone.
And just to conclude this, Mayor, the reason why I wanted to bring this up this morning was I got some emails over the weekend. I know there was some discussion on one of the local Facebook town-related, independent of the town-related pages. And it was confusing to me in terms of, you know, what we were talking about relative to the issues at hand. And it seemed to me that we needed to make sure that we weren't sending, that this board, by its vote today and its discussion, this board was not sending a mixed message to our citizens, and that what we're doing is we're going to potentially approve an MSD that allows us to get money to enter into a bridge loan, a short-term loan, to finance the FEMA restoration project this fall, which will then be reimbursed to us by FEMA. And rather than using our own funds, we use somebody else's money, and we can leave our money in a treasury in case we have a bad storm season, God forbid, this year, and need the money for something else. So again, you know, I know it's been lengthy, and I've said it 3 times over again, and that's just my nature sometimes, but I want to make sure that, you know, there was no bait and switch here. The big thing is that we're entering into this for the reasons stipulated.
Right.
Susan.
My point was the same one Tom just made. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that that 15 million that we will probably have to front is totally reimbursable by FEMA, but it just takes, we have to do the project and pay for it before we can get our funds.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second. Clerk, could you call for a vote, please?
Yes, Mayor Pretendent,
Aye.
Alderman Leonard,
Aye.
Alderman Grant,
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
All right, so we have officially passed the second vote for the municipal service districts. Can I have a motion to adjourn as we have no other business today?
If I'm not correct, don't we need to read the,
I don't know. Brian, do we actually need to read the ordinance as well, or does that just need to be on file with the clerk?
It needs to be on file with the clerk.
Okay.
we don't have to read it into the
Good point,
record.
good point.
Okay,
It'll be a part of the record.
thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So now do you want to make a motion?
I move that we adjourn the
Do
meeting.
we have a second?
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor? Okay. Shortest